I've done it. I've done that.
Welcome one and all to another daily video with me, EB. That's Earth's Best Entertainment. Please, if you haven't already, get on over my website. That's www.earthsbestentertainment.com. That is where you can find all my social media, all my videos, all my things to click and like and share, and all of that good stuff, including by purchasing your copy of Earth's Best Friends, which has now been split into separate series within the Earth's Best Friends banner. Hyperfilling Ninja Heroes number 1, 2, and 3, Animal Teens number 1 and 2, and Tween Titans number 1. Very good. And tonight I've got Chad Perkins on tonight. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing woo. How are you?
Hey, I'm hanging in there, you know, running on 0 hours of sleep at this point. So
Dude, it
is a good time.
I am right there with you. There is no coffee in the world right now that could keep us up from wanting to crash.
Yes.
So,
it's a pure adrenaline rush at this point.
Oh my god, dude, you have no idea. I mean, yeah, you do. You're in the same business as I am, but it's just like it's been nothing but adrenaline. Fun adrenaline, though. I will say it's been a good time.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. Right. Where are my other headphones?
Oh no!
Sometimes. All right.
Rip.
All right. There we go. All right. Sounds good now. sometimes my connection, and I noticed this on last night's show. The connection's only bad when I'm looking at it, because the recording was fine, and my guest last night was like, "You haven't been cutting out on me," and I'm like, "Oh, great! So it's just my phone then."
You just sound like a lunatic to everybody else but me.
Right, exactly.
Dude, it's technology never wants to work on my show. I always will. Something always goes wrong all the time.
Oh man.
And I'm like, cool, great. Well, I guess if something does go wrong, it means it's going to be a good show, you know?
Right, exactly. So your Kickstarter just started, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I am the. Oh, go on.
Nope. Wait. See, there's a slight delay in my connection, I think. Sorry about that.
It's okay.
All right. Yeah, go on. Okay. I started your Kickstarter.
I did, yes. So my very first through Hasm Productions, who is currently doing Doghouse as well, and Roadkill Rampage, and Peter Puddin' and Jelly. They have picked up my book, The Legend of Sparkle Dog Don't Say Oh Woo, and it is currently live on Kickstarter. We just broke we just got another backer just a moment ago. But we just broke over 1,000.
Nice.
We funded in under 12 hours. So yeah, our goal is pretty low. But I'm still, you know what? Funded in 12 hours is still under 12 hours is still funded, you know? So doesn't matter how high.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yes. But it's our first Kickstarter. It's actually Blake, my artist's first comic getting published. So that's fun. And it's my second, so I'm very excited. But
I do got to say the art is pretty awesome on this thing, and that's probably what attracted to me the most.
Thank you.
Although I do like the premise. I mean, I don't know too much about the furry stuff, but I like the premise of a suit coming alive and causing mayhem.
Yeah. So when we actually decided with the art, we wanted to do a very Five Nights at Freddy's Invader Zim style. And the reason why we came up with the fursuit is I love Five Nights at Freddy's. I think the lore is absolutely hilarious, but I love the designs of the animatronics. So we were at a furry convention. Me and Blake were selling some art with another person as well, and we were there to support him. And we started sitting. We were drinking, so that was the first problem at this convention that we've never been to. And he goes, I go, hey, so like, do you ever think like the fursuit is them, and when they take it off, they're just being controlled and they don't know what happened? Like, just something stupid like that came out of my mouth. And he's like, no, continue. And so I'm like, no, but think about it. Like, what if it's when they put on it, they like become a whole different person? And that's how we came up with The Legend of Sparkle Dog. Well, when we were writing the story, we originally wanted it to be a horror comic, and kind of like a fantasy storytelling style book where it's, in Elder Scrolls with the Dragonborn giant murals.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we were thinking about that, or like the chapel, like the big paintings and everything.
Yeah, Sistine Chapel.
Yeah, so it's the big story of Sparkle Dog. So I go, he goes, well, what if it's like, it's just us telling a story of this weird Cthulhian fursuit that comes alive? And I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's not talk about this again. At all. And this is a true story. Like, I'm paraphrasing it, but what happened after that though is it became a game of chicken. Is where I was bored one night and I had some free time from writing my other stuff, and Sparkle Dog was scratching at the back of my head, and you know how when you get that itch, you're like, yeah, I gotta do it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like
yeah, exactly.
And I went, okay, fine. So I send him the first page and I go, bro, look at this. I have the first page written. And then he came back with a character design of our gender fluid character Quinn. And we said, he's like, well, I have a character design. And I go, oh, well, guess what? I have 2 pages and an outline done. And then it just spiraled. And then by the time we did this 22-page colored book.
Nice.
Yeah, we're like, fine, let's do this.
Well, you got a good concept if you're constantly like upping the ante with your artist. Like, oh yeah, well I see your double colored page and raise you an outline.
You know what? Guess what? I wrote 12 issues. Beat that. Well, I drew all 12 issues.
Man.
So it just became this whirlwind of what ridiculous stuff we could do with this book. The first issue is an introduction that gets you kind of familiar with it. Tells the story of kind of what happened that locked Sparkle Dog away, and Quinn is sent on this adventure to collect 4 crystal paw pads from different furries in order to summon Sparkle Dog, because furries used to be peacekeepers of the world. But now that they are, I sound like a lunatic when I'm saying this out loud, but they were peacekeepers and now they were locked away and people forgot. Well, that might be the case. So Sparkle Dog takes control of him and starts sending him on this adventure to collect these paw pads. And this one sets the stage and just tells the story of it. My favorite part about working on this title so far is I get to talk in a very disgusting manner that I've never gotten to before.
Oh, gee.
Where I can make Sparkle Dog say, I'm adorbs, and he speaks in emojis as well, and people can just understand it. Like, it's never really explained why. So it's just, am cutie. And while I was writing this, Blake kept cringing at me, and he's like, please stop. And I'm like, no. I will not stop. But yeah, it's been a lot of fun doing this.
Well, that's important with a project, if you're really enjoying it, then you might have something,
I agree. It's one of those things that I always say to people that if you're gonna make if you're gonna even do a book, and this too, you know, we both work
Yep.
on comics, we both do comics, is you want to have a passion for it. Like your game
Yes.
isn't, I want that Netflix deal, I want to make money, because guess what? I got news for you. You're not going to make, it's very rare, but the
Right.
whole goal is to have fun. And when you have one of these concepts where you can laugh at how ridiculous it is, that's when you know you're probably going to have a good story. And even if it fails or bombs or people don't like it, you know what? People will like it because you had fun with it. I'm having fun with it, you know? So,
right.
And if people don't like it, then cool. I'm glad you read it at least.
Right, right, and it's like, all right, well, you know, if it didn't catch on, you try something else, or maybe you just continue it anyway.
Right, that's exactly what we're gonna do. I told Blake, I'm like, look, even if this gets a -1 star and IMDb burns it to the ground or whatever, I mean, it's still coming. Like we're not. Well, I'm not stopping. I'm stubborn.
Yes. Again, if you're having fun doing it, like, and if it's not, you know, bankrupting you to are you paying him? You guys are doing like a partnership?
We have well, I mean, for this contract, yeah, it's a partnership.
Yeah.
But, you know, it just depends on who I'm working with. We try to work out a deal. But yeah, in this case, Blake and I have been friends for at least like 5 years before we even started this. So we were pretty familiar with each other. We kind of worked out a deal of saying, hey, both of us are going to suffer together.
Yes.
So
you'll be starving artists together, right?
Correct. Exactly. Yes. And we didn't want this book. We actually didn't expect Sparkle Dog to be taken so seriously by people because it started as a joke with us. And then Hasm was like, hey, you know, it seems like you guys really want to make this book. Let us help you. And they've been.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you want Tina from Hasm is one of the reasons why I don't sleep at night.
Oh, wow.
Because it's constant messaging of, Chad, wake up and do this. And it's now I'm on like a timer where I'll be like, Tina needs me. And it's like a bat symbol. And I just run to the computer.
Oh, jeez.
No, she's been wonderful. She's been wonderful to work with. I recommend if you ever need help and tips and tricks on how to do Kickstarter, she is definitely somebody that you should go to.
Okay, excellent.
But it's what's really been interesting about this book, though, speaking of people taking this seriously, is the amount of like covers we got from people saying, yes, I will do a variant cover for you.
Wow.
Yeah, because we're like, I text Kaylin and I was like, hey, do you want to do a variant cover for me? And I sent her the script and she's like, if you get this out of my face and I say yes, will you leave me alone? And I'm like, yeah. No, she's great to work with too. But it's been like this joke on us is every time when we send this to get somebody to, when we hire somebody or we ask somebody, we always say that it's against their will or they just want us to leave them alone because they don't want to deal with Sparkle Dog.
Of course, right?
Right. So
yeah, right.
we have Jason Knox from the Satanic coloring book as well. He did the Heckler.
Oh, gee.
Yeah, he is. Look, I'll tell you, he's such a great guy to work with. Him and I were laughing our butts off when we were doing it and talking about it. He's like, so what do you want me to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Your work's like elaborate and cool. Give me something weird and cool. And then he did. So I'm like, hell yeah.
And he did. Well, there you go.
Yeah. Then we also got Warren Brown from Sig and Joe as well. He was the first one that I worked with. He was very excited because I've been a fan of his work for a while now. And he does this very creepy. I know he doesn't. I don't think he likes me saying, but I find his artwork very unsettling, and I don't know if he thinks that's a compliment or not. And I just haven't really asked him. So
gotcha.
Yeah, but everybody's been awesome to work with. C. Michael Lanning did the main cover for us for this Kaiju S variant.
Oh wow!
So yeah, it's just this book is probably the strangest thing and the most probably the most challenging thing that I'm currently working on. It's because I get to I get to experiment with different I know I'm babbling, I apologize, but I get to
No, it's all good.
I get to experiment with different genres. Like the next book is going to be a point and click adventure, like humongous entertainment style, like a kid's game with little nightmares mixed in. The next book is going to be a detective noir or a noir lounge singer story in a speakeasy. And then the fourth book is going to be in space as a Star Wars parody. And then the next book is going to be a D&D campaign. So I get to do me and Blake get to create all these different genres with this story of just telling the story and the direct legend of Sparkle Dog. I mean, when we say that this is the legend of Sparkle Dog, and you're like, oh, we want a deep story. No, this is us telling you the legend of Sparkle Dog. It's just going to get really weird.
The premise is pretty weird, so I would expect a pretty weird book. It's funny, when I was doing the graphics for this show, my daughter sees it. She's like, "What's Sparkle Dog?" And I'm like, "It's inappropriate, and you will never read it."
No, I will encourage her not to read it. Never read it. The fact that I even asked him to join me right now is already a problem.
Yes. like this is definitely not a kid's book.
No, I don't. Unfortunately, I don't write kids books as much as I want to.
Yeah.
I'm way too violent of a human being to write them.
I understand that feeling. I resisted the urge to do kids books for a long time, but everyone was like, "You really ought to do a kids book because you're so good with kids." And I'm like, "But I want to do something edgy and angsty," and I was trying to do something at the time that was edgy and angsty, and then it was just like, all right, this isn't working out. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what the demographics for this book is. So one thing led to another, and here I am with Earth's Best Friends.
And you're like, you know what? That one actually did get successfully funded, didn't it?
Yeah, I've had two successful campaigns, and I've got number 3 coming.
Heck yeah, man.
April, yeah. And I got I managed to land the best domain name ever.
Best Kickstarter. How has nobody thought of doing that before, though?
Right? Yeah.
First, like the fact that you got that, it's like irony at its best, or not even.
Right.
I'm not sure what that would be. Like, what the heck? It's a calling, man. It's a calling.
It's perfect.
I did squish the notification button too, so I'm very much looking forward to it. My favorite.
I appreciate that.
Thank you. You're welcome. Of course, man. We gotta support. We gotta back each other. We gotta support each other. You know, we're all in the same boat.
Absolutely.
Except a couple people. I don't think Blake's in the same boat, but he's my art slave, so he sits in the back. No, that guy, Blake, as an artist, is a freaking machine. Like, he was doing the book. He was so passionate about working on this with me that I kept telling him, please slow down.
Oh, wow.
Like, he was reading the script and he's like, oh, this is fun. This is going to be great. So he started doing it. And I go, Blake, I haven't even sat down and tweaked it and edited and moved everything. And he's like, no, I already got 3 pages done. And I'm like, Blake, I love you. Like, he's got that new creator syndrome, you know?
Yep. Like, he's going a million miles an hour, but the problem is he might burn out.
Mm-hmm. That's my biggest worry. I'm like, bro, I gotta ask you to draw more weird shit. I don't need you crapping out on me.
Exactly.
Like, I'm sorry.
Once you lose that steam from it being super new or exciting. Not that it stops being exciting, but that new car smell, so to speak, kind of goes away.
I agree 100%, and I think that's one of the.
And
no, go on.
No, that's fine. I ramble and then I kind of start sentences, and then I'm like, I don't have anything else to say actually. So,
no,
sorry.
I do that. No, that's okay. I do that too as well. With the new car smell though, I've always felt like that is the biggest challenge with writing longer series, because I can bust out you know a one shot no problem, but then once you get to 3-4 issues, you're like, I want to write something else, because in your head you've kind of already completed the story. You just got to put it on paper. And I always live by my rule is when starting a book is always have your ending first. Because at least that way you have your goal. It doesn't matter how you get there, as long as your ending is cohesive and coherent at the end. And I feel like that's one of the easier ways to write. But I also try to look at it as, this isn't my job, this is my passion, even though this is like, I have a day job as well, but this is also my other full-time job too.
Oh, wow. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So granted, I'm not as like, when I say it's my full-time job, like I'm consistently writing and I'm consistently working on stuff. So, but I always try to make sure, you know, I'm having fun. I'm talking to other comic people and other people that actually love the medium. C. Michael Lanning, him and I are currently working on another show we're going to be developing a book together.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah. And I keep sending him ideas just to kind of keep the passion going. And he keeps blocking me because I keep sending him stupid ideas. But joke's on him. Once he blocks me, I come back with another, and then he has to wait 7 days to block me again. So
there you go.
Yeah, so checkmate.
You get to throw 7 days worth of bad ideas at him, or stupid ideas at him.
Exactly. No, my favorite thing, like I've told Blake too, is I love messing with people when it comes to comics.
Well, you gotta have fun, you know. You gotta. It's you could definitely use it to be kind of a troll. It's not a bad idea.
No, it's not, especially when you get the right people around too.
Yeah.
Where it's like, hey, so I have this idea. What do you think? And it's like, what if a cat vomited acid blood on people and was really angry? And then you're like, oh, that's Daxter for the DC universe. That sounds really stupid. And then when you see it in action, you're like, oh, that's cool. Like, so you have fun with it. So also, I do live by the.
Well, hey, you know.
Oh, go on.
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, I was gonna say. Well, I mean, you know, there was a movie that just came out, Cocaine Bear. So anything is possible.
That's based on a true story. So.
Yeah. It's. I mean, people are talking about Hollywood running out of ideas. Well, there's certainly an idea.
Well, that was the thing. Like when you find out it's based on a true story, you're like, oh man, this, and then you realize, oh no, that is a good idea for a movie. Like that,
right?
Like Sharknado, or like that movie is an absolute disaster. Or Snakes on a Plane, and they're stupid ideas, but we watch them.
Yeah. So, somehow there are 3 Sharknado movies, and somehow that's in the like so bad it's good territory.
Yeah.
Like it's just like I could watch this. It's enjoyable, even though it's stupid and terrible. It's still enjoyable.
Well, yeah, it's one of those movies, much like some comics too, that I absolutely love, is where you can just turn off your brain, get some friends to read it, and then you just have a really fun time talking about it.
Exactly.
And I kind of hope that Sparkle Dog ends up like that. that even if you think it's bad or good or the greatest thing in the world, if you can get a bunch of friends and just, I don't know, do a totally mystery science theater on it, or just like be really funny with it, or just have a good time, I feel like that's a success, you know? Like, I feel like you should wear that with a badge of honor. I like, because unfortunately, the only movie I can say that is such a disaster, and I sat through it twice, was Morbius.
Morbius, yeah. That's a tough one to get through.
I'm watching it. At first, I watched with my wife. Like, I became part of the problem. I bought it on Blu-ray because if there's gonna be bad movies, I'm gonna be the one to support these bad movies and be a part of the problem. In cinematics.
Nice.
Right. It's like, you know, yeah, I'll buy Morbius and New Mutants on Blu-ray. I don't care. But I sat down with her, and usually, you know, I'll have a drink, we'll have dinner, and, you know, I was having a good time. I was getting a good buzz going from my drink because I heard it was a really bad movie, but I thought I could enjoy it because it would be really funny. And I became sober about 20 minutes in.
Oh, yeah.
And then I watched it with two of my friends about 2 weeks ago. And my buddy Preston and my co-host Sabrina, who we usually watch a movie before we do our show, as we were sitting there, Preston goes, out of every movie that I have ever watched with you guys, it's always been fun to riff on them. But this one here, the only thing we can say is it's Morbin time. And that's
right.
And that's one of the things I really like about comics, is because you do get turn off your brain books. And you don't get, I mean, I've read my Morbiuses before in comics too. We all have. Like, well, anyway, we're not going to go into that. Except Clone, that's a masterpiece. If you ever want to read a book that's so wild and one of the worst things I've ever read, but it's the wildest thing ever, go read that book. Like, it's
Clone, okay.
Clone. It's literally Orphan Black, but the guy denies that. I did an entire spotlight review on it, but the guy claims that Orphan Black copied him. And he didn't. Orphan Black was when he wrote it, which is weird because Orphan Black was huge when he was writing it, and it's literally Orphan Black, like almost verbatim.
So he pulled a Vanilla Ice, right?
Right.
I don't know if you're familiar. It was like, you know, Ice Ice Baby. It was like he had this like really terrible explanation. It was like, no. Queen's version goes din 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 din. Mine goes din 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 din.
Right, yeah. Well, apparently they did like an analysis of that, an analysis, quote unquote, and I guess Vanilla Ice is sort of right, but like
sort of,
but like still,
it's like just because you add one note doesn't mean it's not infringement.
Right. Just say you were inspired. Like, just say, yeah, I took the beginning of Under Pressure and pay the money. Like, come on. Like, it's like Good For You with Paramore, if you're familiar with that. One, Olivia Rodriguez did Good For You with Paramore's Misery Business.
Oh, okay.
It's the same song.
I'm not familiar with that. But...
Oh, no. It's
really?
Like, yeah, it's the same song. But like melody wise and everything, and Olivia, in order to get around it, goes, no, it was inspired. I didn't rip it off. And I'm like, yeah, okay. Like, sure, whatever. But honestly, comics,
there are other bands that are guilty of doing things like that. Excuse me. Nicotine gum is hitting my throat.
Oh
no. There are other bands that are guilty of doing that, and I don't know if anyone's ever called them out on it, but The Offspring Why Don't You Get a Job is totally Obla Di Obla Da by the Beatles. Nah, nah, why don't you get a job?
I'm
Obla Di Obla Da.
Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah, yeah. And the beginning of Sublime's What I Got is the beginning of um, Lady Madonna by the Beatles.
Really?
Early in the morning, Lady Madonna. Da, 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 da.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
it's like the Beatles might be a little faster, but it's the same thing.
Sure. Well, I actually ran into that the other day too. Is the symphonic metal band Delane? They just released a new single, and then my first thought was, this is just Every Time We Touch. From
Oh,
yeah, not from Cat. Like, I mean, yeah, it's Cat. Everybody knows the Cascade version, but the original version. And I can't remember
wow.
the band who does it. But that was my first thing, and when I first heard the song, I was like, and every time we kiss, I get this feeling.
Yeah.
And then I read the comments. They're like, "Oh, it's just this song." I'm like, "Yeah, it's a good song though. Like, it's Moth to a Flame, and it's actually a very good song." But I just kept going do 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 do.
Yeah,
Well,
you
then,
just think about the other song, right?
right. Well, not Olivia Rodriguez, Bebe Rexha, and David Guetta. I mean, it was obvious that they did "I'm Good," but it's Eiffel 65's Blue Double. I'm Blue.
Yeah.
And that was obvious because they came out right and said that. But speaking of like using other songs, people do it, artists do it all the time. Comic book people do it all the time too.
Yep, definitely.
How many of us have made horror detective books, horror slasher books that are like, oh, this is just this? Like Chew. I compare that. That's just X-Men, but with food. Like,
Right.
it is. And it's one of my all-time favorite comics. It's just what is it? Avatar, the movie, is just Dances with Wolves and Fern
Yep.
Gully.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, South Park made fun of it and called it Dances with Smurfs.
Yeah. But also too, when I did a book, I was writing a book called Lyrical, which was about a guy who gets superpowers from different music that he listens to. And right after that, I found 2 more books that are literally the same exact concept.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's called Treble, and then the other one was Shuffle, I think. And then there's Chris Tomasma's Bass Force, but I don't think that one has anything to do with music. I think that guy's just loud.
Yeah.
And then I go, wait, wasn't there also an X-Men character named DJ back in the day? And then I Googled it, and yeah, sure enough, there was.
Oh, like, wow.
Oh. So it's nothing new. Like,
no, right.
People
I mean, everything comes from something else. It's like the word original gets thrown around, but technically nothing's original. It's just all a matter of how you twist it.
Right. Exactly. And everybody's like, oh, you got to come up with new and interesting ideas. And we won't go into the whole Marvel and DC stuff. But it's like, yeah, but everything they come up with can be derived from something, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Like Sparkle Dog. It's Five Nights at Freddy's meets Puka. The TV, the little net Hulu movie, which if anybody hasn't seen it yet, definitely recommend seeing Puka. Like, my next book is just Constantine with fish. So it's like
Constantine with fish.
Yeah, it's John Constantine with fish.
I like that pitch.
Yeah, it's about
all right. It's Constantine with fish.
It's about an angry man who's upset, who's wants to revenge on fish, and he is legitimately just John Constantine. He's also Robert Pattinson from Lighthouse and Christopher Maloney from Happy, but at the same time, though, yes,
right,
Constantine with fish. Or Blue Lullaby is just Monsters Incorporated with Men in Black, my first book. Like, that's, it's also based on a short story I found on Reddit.
And Monsters Inc. is pretty much just more coherent version of Our Real Monsters.
It is. It is. It actually has a story,
You know?
and you care about Sully. You don't care about Oblina and Ickis and Kronk.
Right.
Like
Exactly. And well, they don't scare kids for like power supply, but it's pretty much along the same thing. There's a school that they grow up to be scares to scare for a career. You know, it's pretty much the same thing.
right, except there's no benefit for them scaring.
Right. It's just like what they do. It's like, oh, it's what monsters do. They scare people.
Right. Hey, mommy, when I grow up, I want to be a doctor. Oh, no, you're not.
Although there was a monster that was a doctor, if I recall.
Yeah, he had the little didn't he have like the little gremlin thing on his shoulder or whatever?
Yeah, on his shoulder.
Yeah. I do remember that. Well, Nightmare Before Christmas, it's the same thing. They don't go to school, but like their whole job is just to scare people.
Yep.
Like
That's true too. It's like, yeah, they're the epitome of Halloween. So it's like, yeah, all they have to do, they have to like plan the entire year. Like, all right, how are we gonna do next Halloween? It's like, how does this world really work? Did anyone actually get scared, or was it just a party in Halloween Town?
I've always wondered too. I'm like,
because Christmas, they actually do go to Earth and deliver the presents, but in the beginning of the song "This Is Halloween," they were really just singing to themselves.
Yeah, they were.
There were no humans there.
No, and then they like go to town and scare people. So also too, are these people like? Do they like say, "Oh my God, it's Halloween. We got to board up our doors because Jack Skellington's come"? Like, what is everybody doing beforehand?
Right.
like
Right. Like, how do they celebrate Halloween in that world?
How do they celebrate?
That is the question.
like that was one of the things I've always wondered about that any of those worlds is what do they do for the rest of the 364 days?
Right. I guess they just plan. They plan the song they're going to sing next year to themselves.
And then the humans are
planning that was a great Halloween. I've already got some good ideas for next year. Like,
I'm already jotting it down. Bro, what are we singing? And it's literally just the same song, so it's just the Cantina Band from Star Wars.
Right. You know?
No.
And there was a year where the same movie came out from two different studios, Aeon Flux and Ultraviolet.
Yes.
It's the same exact movie, just from two different studios.
They actually did that with I think if I remember correctly, Rango and Rio were supposed to be the same movie.
Yeah. Well, what was that? One was DreamWorks, the other was
Blue
it
Sky.
Pixar or Disney?
Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Rio.
Oh, Blue Sky. Okay, that's right. There used to be a Blue Sky before it was bought out by DreamWorks, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, just like talking about originality, like there's always going to be multiple. I mean, the new Megan movie is just Chucky. Like,
yeah, pretty much, right? And Chucky was pretty much based off of an idea from the Twilight Zone. This doll. It was like a possessed doll. It was called a Molly Dolly.
mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's like everything just like that episode of South Park. Simpsons did it. Well, of course Simpsons did it. They've been on TV forever. And also, even that episode was based off an episode of this. You know, like even that wasn't original on Simpsons. You know.
Right. The whole thing was inspired by something. Come on, get over yourself.
Exactly. Like even Star Wars is basically just the story of King Arthur. If you think about it, King Arthur in space.
It is. Well, it's the hero's journey, is what it is.
Yeah, hero's journey, right?
Yeah, and that's all it is.
Yep.
I mean, Power Rangers is literally just crap. Why can't I freaking think of it? It's just the Japanese version of it.
Yeah, well, yeah, it was Super Sentai, and then
Sentai.
Ultron might have inspired that. I think Ultron came first, and then there was also there was Ultron and there was Ultraman that were
Yeah.
kind of in that same category that might have come before Sentai, and then then the Sentai Rangers turned into Power Rangers in America.
Yep, and it was just spliced together. I mean, it was just
And all of that is inspired by kaiju Godzilla movies.
Yep, it is. Yes, like there is no originality. It, like you said, it's how you spin it.
Yep.
And I think that's
It
what
is.
makes everything fun. It's how can you take this concept and then twist it. I mean, Zenscope has an entire career of taking public domain stuff and twisting them into big booby comics.
Yep. Yep.
I mean, that's their entire business model, and I will eventually write for Zenscope. That is on my bucket list.
I'm actually part of an anthology that we're working on. We all picked a public domain title to do, and I picked Captain Battle, although my intention wasn't to actually do Captain Battle, but to actually do the Crimson Shinn with a Captain Battle skin.
Yeah. Here comes the Captain Battle.
And I made it the most over the top it's awesome. It's so over the top. Like he gets bit by a radioactive Nazi, and that's how he gets his powers.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love that. Wait, is he an evil or is he a hero?
He's a hero.
Wait, what? Wait, do you think he's perfect?
So he's got he's basically got your Superman powers for the most part. Like he flies, he's got super strength. Like I literally just took the name. I really didn't keep much of the original character because the original character was set in World War I, and he actually didn't have superpowers. He used a lot of technology. But I just decided, I was like, nope, I really want to do Crimson Shinn, but I can't do Crimson Shinn, so
Does he talk in terrible lingo, terrible cheesy one-liners and everything?
Oh, of course he does.
Yeah, I am so happy.
Even the narration is like Captain Battle. How did it go? It's like Captain Battle, bringing freedom to the Third Reich, one punch at a time.
Oh, I love it. Oh my god, that is beautiful. He was bit by a radioactive Nazi, but he fights against Nazis.
But he fights against them. Yep.
You were bitten by one of us, you traitor.
Bitten by a radioactive Nazi. Captain Battle. John Battle becomes Captain Battle. That's actually his real name, though. He's John Battle, and then he's Captain Battle.
Does he have a secret identity? Is that his secret identity too? Is like John Battle, and people can't make the connection.
It's not really a secret identity thing. Although speaking of secret identities, so this character I have as my icon, that's Super Steak, and I created him when I was 13 years old, and I did go with that trope of so. The only difference between Super Steak and his secret identity, Steak, is that when he becomes Super Steak, he spikes up his hair, and nobody knows Steak is Super Steak despite his name, and it just all it changes is his hair spikes up.
Awesome! I love it. Love it. That's great. I had an idea for a public domain, so I hate The Great Gatsby. So that's a great start.
Oh, yeah.
So what I did is I was trying to come up with The Great Gatsby. For some reason, when Winnie the Pooh became public domain, everybody did Winnie the Pooh stuff. We have the Demon Hunter, we have the Blood and Honey, we have all kinds of stuff with that thing. But when Great Gatsby did that same thing, when it became public domain, nobody did any books on it. Like,
I know, it's weird, right?
I was like, well, why? So I came up with an idea, and I don't think I'll ever write it. It's about Great Gatsby, but he's a time traveler, and what he's doing is going through different time periods to collect artifacts to gain immortality. And he's actually like a Vandal Savage type villain, and it's actually Daisy hunting him down, trying to stop him. And it's just Daisy like being this really like, I gotta fine, go stop. Great Gatsby's an a-hole, and I guess I'm gonna stop him. So it's just Gatsby just being a jerk in different time periods trying to gain immortality. And Daisy's like, sure, whatever, Gatsby, fine. Just come home. I also had a Helen Keller book too, but nobody would
Helen Keller.
No, it's the Helen Keller Isekai manga.
There is a thing going around the internet, and I kind of almost believe it, that Helen Keller may not have been, like, not that she didn't exist, but she may not have actually accomplished any of the things they claim she accomplished.
I've heard that one too, and also too, she was faking it the whole time. I like that Family Guy skit. I've seen
right.
But I came up with this idea. First off, don't drink. Alcohol is a hell of a drug. But
yeah, that's very true.
I was sitting there just like spitballing ideas. I was going, what is the most offensive thing I could probably ever come up with about a real life person? And obviously there's your obvious ones, like your racial ones and all that kind of stuff, and historical figures and all those, and political figures. But I was like, what about Helen Keller? And then I go, what if it's an isekai? Because you can just make anything an isekai and it'll sell.
Right.
And this guy gets reincarnated, but for the first 5 chapters, it's nothing but black. Like, it's just patches of black, and it's like, it's him thinking. Like, he can feel stuff, like people touching him and like, you know, that kind of thing, but he has no idea what's going on. Well, finally, as he's learning, after like chapter 6, he finally goes, oh my God, I'm reincarnated as Helen Keller. Like, so it's, I was not allowed to talk anymore for a couple of days. I asked.
I've been there.
I have too. Well, obviously, I have. Have you met me? My God.
I went through a phase. I went through a phase where I tried to be as offensive and edgy as possible. And back when Sprite comics were very popular to do, and they were pretty easy to do, I made this Sprite comic called Tapeworm, and it was just a series of stupid ideas that I had. And there was this one ongoing thing called what the hell is it? Mr. Jenkins's Nuggets. It's like, kids, I need you to help me find my nuggets. It was just like it was a stupid adventure where he just basically goes around saying, I've lost my nuggets.
Oh, I love it. It's so dumb. No, I actually did pitch it to an artist once, and she was not happy.
No, you can't. Yeah, that's a tough pitch. That's a tough pitch.
I think a lot of offensive comic, and I always stand behind. Like, I mean, write whatever you want. Like, you know, like. Oh,
you know what would make that even more offensive if you did that as an AI made comic.
Oh, don't even get me started.
That would complete the offensive cycle right there.
All right, are we gonna start a fight about it? Are we on the same page with AI, or are we gonna fight?
Well, that's why I know it would definitely it would definitely hit that mark of everybody hates it.
Oh, okay, good. Okay, so we are.
Yes, yes.
No, I mean, dude. I mean, AI art.
I know it's a hot button issue these days.
I mean, there's an entire website dedicated to people submitting AI books.
Oh wow,
Yeah, and it's very sad.
that's really weird.
It's very weird, and they're free as well. Like, you can download them for free, and I still don't want to.
Yeah, right. It's fun to mess around with, but I don't think I'd ever use it for anything serious, you know.
No, I agree. I do think it's a useful tool for people who aren't very good at describing what they want.
Yeah.
So I think it's good to say, hey, this is kind of what I was imagining. I mean, obviously, I also think that the artist should also have their own interpretation as well, but, you know, some writers are different.
Oh, yeah, sure.
They're like, hey, this is like, I can't describe on paper when I'm writing the script how I want the action sequences, so I kind of made this little AI art panel, you know?
Like as a reference, you know?
Yeah, but I would never sit there and say, I'm an artist and I worked hard on this. I'm like, bro, you told a AI to go beat up a child and stole their heart and said, I grew a heart. No.
Yeah, right.
Or it said, I'm a doctor. Like,
no, right.
No,
right, exactly.
You just beat up a child and took their heart away. Like, I'm sorry. Like, it's just no. Then you got all the scammer people too who are doing that.
Yeah.
There's a guy who's actually charging like $1,000 a page to do AI art.
What?
Yeah, I don't remember his name offhand, and I don't know if he's still doing it. But in the beginning, that's what they were doing. And then it turned out when you actually looked at it, most of it was like Warhammer stuff.
Oh, wow.
Like, yeah, so people were like, well, that's just a Warhammer ship.
Right.
They're like, oh, no, it's inspired. I'm like, bro, that's just your character's.
Listen, if you type in Warhammer into the AI, it's going to give you Warhammer.
Weird concept, right? I bet if you typed in Rob Liefeld, it would give you, well, I mean, it would probably give you stuff from a John Carpenter movie because it's Rob Liefeld, but I digress. No,
yeah.
Look.
I don't get too much. I don't have too much luck with when I used the main one for a little while. Dream. What the heck is it called? This is a bunch of them.
Or Midjourney.
Yeah. Midjourney, yeah, I used that for a little while, and RJ at Critical Blast, he's really good at getting it to cooperate. I don't have the same success he does with trying to get it to cooperate. I tried to make it give me like a photorealistic lizard on a rock. It didn't really do it, but when he did it, I was like, how the heck did you do that? Like, that looks like an actual photorealistic lizard. I can't get it to cooperate.
I mean, I guess the AI sentient and it just knows what it likes, I guess. Maybe maybe your lizard idea is not cool enough. I don't know.
Yeah, it's weird.
I told it to give me a sparkly. Actually, when I first started Sparkle Dog, I was dicking or messing around with some of the AI apps on the phone just to do like background stuff for like marketing, and seeing what I could come up with. And I typed in like dog, creepy dog, sparkly, and it gave me things that I don't look like dogs. In fact, they don't look like anything, but like puddles of goop.
Ew, what?
Yeah, it was very strange. I was like, what? This is supposed to be the revolutionary thing, and now the only thing that you can really tell is but the fingers, the foreheads, and the necks are usually pretty it's pretty easy to notice that kind of stuff.
And if they ever smile with teeth, usually that's pretty awful.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pretty uncanny valley. Like whoa, that is like nightmare fuel. I've made it give me some pretty creepy images. Well, there's one for mobile that I use called Dream. I think it's just called Dream, and it's like like some of these images are like from a fever dream. Like
No, I agree. I think it's. Did you ever the movie Smile?
yeah.
That movie has to be created by an AI. I don't think a real person made that.
No, probably not.
Because it's very uncanny valley. Same thing with that Skidmarink movie too. That movie was made by an AI.
Yeah, it had to be, right?
Nobody in a room for 2 hours and film that movie and edit it.
Right. Yeah, it's crazy. And this software is evolving pretty fast. That's what's scary about it too.
It is. Every time when a photo shows up now, somebody says, I took this picture, I always look at it a lot longer now. And whether or not that's good for photographers, I mean, that's great because then you can appreciate their art more. But it's like, I'm like, is this AI? Did you take this? Like, is this a real person? And then I have to glance at it. Actually, the Family Guy Facebook page was posting a person who does exclusively AI generated art on Instagram and saying realistic interpretations of Family Guy characters. And I'm like,
yeah, and they're pretty freaky.
Yeah, and I'm like, this isn't even real. Like, this is an interpretation by a computer, not a person. Anyway.
Exactly.
Exactly. That's a whole other thing. Like, that's not your thought process. That's that's the idea being filled in for you.
Exactly. A computer just pumping it out based on numbers.
Right, ones and zeros. And it's like, this isn't the Matrix. We're already in that. You shouldn't create the Matrix within the Matrix. I'm sorry. But yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's very weird.
But no, it's just been fun. Like in general, despite all the controversies and hate and everything going on with comics, it's still a lot of fun to be a part of it.
Oh yeah.
I think it's first off, I always think it's a good medium for people to work in if they're looking to get into the arts.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know what? Pick up a comic book. If you're not good with words and writing, like I always get people who go, well, I'm writing a novel. And I'm like, have you written the title and then sat at a Starbucks for 45 minutes? Like, because there's a difference. Like, but, I always say, if you can't write a novel, try writing a comic,
Yep. That's exactly what led me back to comics. So I was in comics for a little while. Like I said before, I had this edgy, stupid comic I called Untitled History of the Human Condition. Looking back at it, it was like very pretentious. But I wrote Earth's Best Friends as a novel, and then the feedback I got for it was, this would make a better comic book.
Right.
And I'm like, well, all right, I guess I'm gonna have to go back to comic books.
Yeah. Why didn't you do this as a comic? Well,
it costs money to do it that way. It doesn't cost me much to write the book and edit it and put it on Lulu or Amazon or whatever. But to make it into a comic book, I can't draw, so I have to pay an artist to do that for me.
Well, yeah, you might have to pay an artist and everything, but my argument is you can write that novel and put it on Amazon just fine, but is there going to be anybody to help support you when it is released? Like, are there other novels? I don't know. Like, I don't know what the novelist, support group is like. But the comics community is, when you make a comic, it's, they support you.
Yeah. The comics community is definitely way more involved. Although on Twitter, I did start with the writing community because I was doing the novel, and that is how I managed to grow my account to 14,000 followers, which I don't know how many of that is bots. I suspect at least probably 10,000 of them.
Sure, no, I agree. How many of them
Yeah.
are movie ladies who who are in a bikini on a beach? Like,
Yeah,
oh,
yeah. I've blocked a lot of ladies in bikinis saying, "Hey, come to my webcam." No.
no, I don't want to, because one, you're not my type, and two, no. I know what this is. You're trying to steal my credit card. But,
Yeah, exactly. Trying to steal my information.
I do say though, I think when you're on the right track with comics is when scammers start messaging you on Twitter and Facebook looking for work, and they're scammers.
Oh yeah.
I do. I've gotten that twice in the past month, and I'm like, have I made it? Like, am I somebody to try and scam? Like,
Well, when you do a Kickstarter, I don't know, somehow these guys are like just paying attention to new Kickstarters. I swear that's what, because every Kickstarter I've done, I've gotten at least 3 emails saying, "Hey, we can help make you get more pledges," or whatever, you know. And I remember there was one guy that I decided to mess with, and I actually sent him a bill for wasting my time.
did you pay it?
And then no, but he did. But then he threatened to blacklist me from the dark web. It was like, well, you know, I could also use my computing skills for evil and make it so that you can't be searched for in Google. And it's like, dude, no one's searching for me in Google anyway. Like,
They are. They better be looking at OnlyFans and deep fake pornography. You know,
exactly.
Like,
you know,
at least make it fun. But it's just no. I got that too. Like, I checked my direct messages, and I'm like, you can help. I can help you fulfill your Kickstarter by getting you 10,000 people, and
yeah.
the death threats. And I'm like, go away. Like,
Yeah.
But I had one girl message me saying I'm free for hire, and I did end up messaging her for art, and they kept sending me Vinland. Some of the stuff was from Vinland Saga, was on her profile.
Yeah.
And then I kept asking them to send me the book that was from, and they kept sending me different manga pages. I'm like, this is not what I'm asking for.
Oh yeah.
And I did that for about maybe 45 minutes. Or no, I think I did it for maybe about an hour or two. Yeah, about an hour or two. And finally at the end, I'm like, the fact that you didn't even understand that I was messing with you, dude, you got to work on your scamming when you know that you're being messed with. Like, just food for thought.
Oh yeah.
So
Well,
anyway.
they're so like one-track mind. Like they don't even pay attention to the ridiculous things you say to them.
No,
like I've messed with, well, not maybe necessarily Kickstarter scammers, but those like cam girl scammers. Like I've messed with them so hard. I've even like Googled pictures of like micro penis and be like, here's a picture, and like and they just completely are like, so are you gonna log on to my webcam? Like after I send them a picture of a micro penis, like it's like, yeah, you're either a bot or you're completely ignoring anything I say.
I've sent pictures of like Zac Efron and everything too. They're like, what do you look like? And I'm like this. And they're like, you are so hot. Or I'll send like a fat person, like a big person too.
Yeah.
And they're like, you are so hot. I'm like, bro. Like, I mean,
that's how you know.
No judgment, but come on. First off, my profile picture's right there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. They're like, what's your name? It's like, well, if you just looked at my profile, you would know because it's right there.
Yep. Where are you from? Texas. Oh, me too. I'm over on this street. Oh, you mean right by the Shell gas station? And there's no Shell gas station.
Exactly.
But no, it's a wild world out there when it comes
It
to
is.
your people. So
It
yeah,
is. The internet is full of grifters. It allows them to run wild.
it's a wasteland. I'll tell you that. It's a
It
wild.
is.
People talk about cancel culture and everything, and I'm like, I mean, it's kind of a lawless land. You've realized that. But anyway,
Yeah, exactly.
that's
There are
all.
no rules. It's like welcome to the internet. You complain about being offended, or you complain about cancel culture. The answer to either of those is welcome to the internet.
Right, exactly. Like, have you been here long enough to understand? Like,
It's like, oh, did you just log on to Twitter for your first time? Like, do you not know how this app works? People are
right,
toxic.
like, bro, like, people will mess with you so badly. Like,
Oh
it's
yeah,
not fun. But anyway, yeah. So
yeah. You just got to stick to the communities that are usually not so bad. Most of the time, it's just people trying to promote their stuff, and then arguments always happen, of course. But
sure. No, as long as
try
you
to
talk to
stick
each
to
other
the
like people, you know?
yeah, exactly.
That's what I always tried. That's usually like the food for thought when it comes to promoting Kickstarters and just being good in the comics community. Is just talk to each other like people, like especially your creator buddies because they have your back. Regular people,
Yes.
you know, they can all go f themselves. I don't care about those people, but the
Yes.
comic community, those people I care about. I don't care about actual people because I'm a malicious human being. Anyway. The alcohol is getting
Well, I used to believe fellow creators made the worst fans, but now I'm kind of realizing that they're probably the only fans out there.
well, I mean, no, OnlyFans is a website, so there is another
Well,
one.
yeah, that
But,
too, I guess. But
but no, you're right. Like you are comic creator friends are also yeah, they are your OnlyFans.
yeah,
Like, but
I know.
that's a whole other topic.
Yes, it is.
That's what I mind. Look, every time when I see one of my creator buddies, you know, pop up on a Kickstarter supporting or getting a mail from somebody else, I'm like, hey, I back that too. He's a good guy. Yeah, like everybody's supporting each other. Like Mechaton with Wells Thompson, who you have coming on next week.
Yep.
Every time I see him get his books out, I'm like, that man is beautiful. And I am glad to see people get his book in his hands, or people have their book in his hands. So it's
Yeah, that one looks like it's right up my alley. I love robots, big battle robots, or just anything with robots.
I do too. I recently got back into watching BattleBots.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so and I reignited my passion for kaiju and giant robots and just mindless fighting of giant lizards and like people like Godzilla versus King Kong is an awful movie. I'm like, why? It's just a fight. It's just a monkey and a lizard punching each other. Like, what more do you want from this?
Hey, Chris, thanks for tuning in tonight. I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's just it's incredible when it comes to, but you know, Mechaton is a great read. I interviewed Wells the other night, and
all right,
he's a good dude, and I hopefully you enjoyed Mechaton as much as I did. So
yeah, I'm probably gonna back it. I've hit my quota of backing things for now, so it's like, all right, I gotta slow down before I go bankrupt here. Because I backed a bunch of stuff lately. Because I backed your book. I backed gosh, half the time these titles escape me because I know them by the artwork more than the titles now. Because I see that artwork so many times on Twitter and stuff. It's like, wow, I like that.
Thank you. Thank you. No, I was very happy to see how many of you guys actually took the book seriously. So it's like, oh, me?
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's a weird premise. I like weird. I like ridiculous, over the top. That's my style, man. That's
I enjoy weird is my favorite thing in the world. I want no, you're good, man. You're good.
yeah. Thanks for coming on. Anytime is good for me. So
One of my favorite movies is Killer Clowns from Outer Space. It's just a stupid concept, but
it's ridiculous, but
it's beautiful. Like, or Terrifier I watched the other day, and that movie is just, I'm like, no, this is beautiful. Like,
yep.
there's no story. I'm like, no, but that guy just saw the lady from the genital area down to her cranium with a hacksaw and just didn't stop. Like, what more do you want? Like,
Exactly.
like, this is beautiful. Like, this is weird. This is dumb. Like, why are you trying to look into it? And that's what I hope people get out of Sparkle Dog, is just have fun with it. If you think it's dumb, heck yeah, you know? Like,
yep.
Have fun with it. If you think it's weird, yes. If you think it's bad, sure. If you think it's good, great. But whatever.
Exactly.
I want this one to be my B movie.
Yeah.
That's a good way. Actually, that's a good way of looking at it. I want Sparkle Dog to be my B movie.
Your B movie. Yeah. I even though like there's some awful movies out there. It's like, if I were ever make a movie, I'd either want it to be so good that it makes a name for itself, and it's up there with like top 1,000 movies or something, right? Or
Right.
I want it to be like Uwe Boll and be like the stupidest, worst movie ever made, but everybody still knows it.
Or Eli Roth movies.
Yes.
You want to do like Hostel or what was it, the other one? Cabin in the Woods? Not Cabin in the Woods. Cabin Fever?
No. Cabin Fever.
Cabin Fever.
Yeah.
Like, these movies are stupid. Or the other one, Green Inferno? Not Green Inferno.
Green Inferno.
Shoot, I can't think of the other movie that he did. But yeah, like, I would love to do that. Or the Chronicles of Riddick, because that was Uwe Boll, wasn't it? The Chronicles of Riddick movies.
I think it was. Yeah.
Yeah, where it was like,
Yeah, it has him written all over it.
yeah, like, that's what I want. Like, Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter is one of the dumbest things in the world, and it's one of my favorite movies.
Oh man, I love the idea of Abraham Lincoln being a vampire hunter. It's the greatest thing ever.
Stupid.
And that was a comic first.
First. That was a book.
It was.
Yeah, it's by the same person who did Pride and the Prejudice and Zombies.
Yeah.
And the book itself is an autobiography. I've talked to people too where they're like, yeah, it's nothing like the book. I'm like, yeah, because the freaking book is an autobiography, you weirdo. Like,
yeah, you can't do an autobiography movie.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you could, but not with something like that. Like,
No, right.
it would be really boring. That's why when Dominic Cooper when he was in Preacher, I just kept going, no, he's just the vampire from Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter. And, Anthony Mackie, who is the Falcon. I'm like, no, that's just the guy from Abraham Lincoln Vampire Hunter.
I gotta admit, I go hard with that in my expanded world, Earth's Best Friends. I have a vampire character that definitely crosses paths with Abraham Lincoln in that context.
Yes.
It's like, all right, as long as I don't like tell the exact same story, it's probably still technically not copyright infringement, because you can use Abraham Lincoln any way you want, even if someone's already done a vampire hunter. As long as I don't make him the focal point, it should be okay.
Well, the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen is really good to do that, but the Asylum Studios, who does those movies?
Oh yeah.
Are you familiar with them?
A little bit. It sounds familiar to me.
Okay, they're the ones who did. They might have done the Sharknadoes. I don't remember offhand if they were the studio, but they parody every big blockbuster movie, and for some reason they did Abraham Lincoln Zombie Hunter or Zombie Killer. Yeah,
jeez.
and they were also. I think they were the ones who also did Snakes on a Train as well.
Snakes on a Train.
Yeah, if I remember.
Oh man.
But they were a good. They always do these really bad parody movies. So if you ever think that, how can I parody this without getting away with it? Well, look up Asylum Studios. I don't know. Are they still around?
Yeah, there are companies that in the video game industry too that just like shovel out like hundreds of games a year because they're all really, really bad.
Yes.
It's like I either want to be that or I want to be like Nintendo. It's like there's no in between. I want to be the best or the worst.
Yeah, okay. So oh my god, the company received its first theatrical release in 2022, but they've been around since 1997.
Wow.
What?
So they were straight to video stuff for a while.
Yes, Transmorphers. That's the one that they were known for.
Transmorphers.
Yeah. But I guess they did a rendition of Top Gun. Huh.
Wow.
Huh.
That's already kind of a parody type movie.
I mean, yeah, I get, yeah. Wait, in 2008, they released Death Rachers featuring the hip hop group NSYNC. Okay, well, I'm going down a freaking rabbit hole right now.
There's a rabbit hole.
Wait, hang on. There's more to this. I must know later. Oh my god, we've been talking for an hour and 20 minutes. Damn.
Yeah. It's like, wow, okay, that's cool.
Oh.
It's like, well, like I said before, it's like, well, I'm not going to work tonight, so that's all right.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
Although if we go over 2 hours, I won't be able to rebroadcast on the Madness Network, because I can only go 2 hours for pre-recorded videos on StreamYard.
Yeah, no, I know that one. Well, we can wrap it up as well. So
yeah.
So that way you can get your re-recording on everything. So.
All right. Yeah, we can wrap it up. Well, hey, man, thanks for coming on and chatting with me. It's been a fun time.
It sure has, man. I had a great time here, and hopefully we will be chatting again. So.
Yes, definitely. Well, I'm going to have a Kickstarter to pimp, so I'll have to come on your show as well.
Yes, please do. Come crash my show as well. We've been slowly kind of doing interviews lately because it's been a lot of fun. But yes, absolutely. Please come on and please talk with me, and we can talk about how angry we are about the world.
About the world, yes.
Right. Like, it's a weird world. Anyway.
It is. It's a very weird world. That's why we have such weird ideas.
Yeah, and please keep them coming. I want a shirtless bear fighter.
We need more cocaine bears in the world.
Have you looked up meth crocodile?
No, what?
Yeah, apparently. Okay, so apparently there's a new movie. I think it's called Meth Alligator or Meth Crocodile. Meth Gator movie. Yeah, Attack of the Meth
Gator.
Yeah.
Wow.
Which I kind of, all right.
You can't make it up, man.
You can't, and I understand.
Well, I guess you can, right? Because it is made up.
Oh my god, it's coming full circle. It's from Asylum.
No way.
About that. Holy crap. All right.
Well, there it is. No wonder it's Meth Gator.
I guess so. Like, I guess that's fair. I do like the fact that Cocaine Bear is based on a true story, so doing Attack of the Meth Gator, I'm like, that kind of ruins the joke of Cocaine Bear, but sure. You know what?
Yeah.
Whatever.
Meth Gator.
So,
Man.
I love it.
I remember when the Golden Compass came out, and me and my friends were kind of riffing the poster because it was like, this is like the most testosterone-filled poster. You have a bear fighting. It was like, it's like, how could we man this up even more? It's like, all right, put the bear on a motorcycle, jumping over a volcano, right? Like,
Wait, what was this?
What's that?
Which is this? Oh, is that
That was Golden Compass.
Oh, Golden Compass. Okay. Yeah.
The poster for that was just like testosterone filled. It was like, wow, this is a manly like, and it was a kid's cartoon, but it was like, this is a manly poster. This is just like pumping the testosterone in this poster.
I have so I did Shirtless Bear Fighter a couple weeks ago as a review, and every single cover is just like the manliest thing in the world.
Oh, man.
It's just this man whose hair, like this shirtless man in a forest who's angry. And
shirtless man in a forest who's angry.
Yeah, have you read?
That sounds like it could be a. Sounds like it'd be a true story if it like took place in Arkansas or something.
Look, if Leah came out and said, "Hey, Shirtless Bear Fighter is based on a true story," I'd probably just nod and go, "Yeah, that doesn't surprise me." I believe that. Yeah, no, Shirtless Bear Fighter is great. We actually did do 1 and 2. Both reviews. We did a duel of it. And both of them are just as hilariously manly as the other. He gets eaten pancakes and maple syrup.
Oh, wow.
The first arc is just the Charmin commercials. Yeah. Like people are like, oh, it's about bears and like this toilet paper factory cutting down the forest. I'm like, yeah. And there's bears involved. It's just the Charmin bears rebelling, like trying to sell toilet paper, but like harming the environment, like they're doing. Like it's just one. This is just one big Charmin commercial.
It's a big Charmin commercial. See, if you have a comic book like that, you need to pitch that to Charmin and be like, you guys need to back this book.
Bear Fighter. Sponsored by Charmin.
Sponsored by Charmin.
All right, man.
Yeah, printed on toilet paper, right?
Yes, every time you go into the bathroom, gee, I wonder what issue I get to wipe my butt with this week.
Oh man.
Man, God. I mean, it'd be a great gimmick. Great Kickstarter.
Yeah, right. That would be. Well, like I said, people talk about nobody has any real idea. Well, there's an idea.
There's an idea. Is it a good idea? I don't know, man. Prove me if it is or isn't. I don't know. But, all right, man. So.
All right.
Yeah.
We're gonna wrap it up again.
Yeah. No, we could talk for hours, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. So, again, thank you for coming on. Chris, thanks for tuning in and jumping in the chat. I appreciate it. And anybody else watching out there in internet land, because it only show the viewers on YouTube. So I don't know if anyone's watching on Facebook or Twitter. And thank you all for coming on and chatting with me and hanging out. And we rebroadcast in the morning, 8 a.m. on the Madness Network. So thank you if you're tuning in on that as well.
Yeah.
And guys, thank you all so much, and we will catch you next time. Goodbye.